Frontier has just posted a new question and answers thread where they answer your questions on the upcoming Odyssey update. Guys, I have something exciting to share with you guys. Today's video is brought to you by me and the Down to Earth store. So head over to store.d2a.com, check out the cool products. Not only are there new designs, but also new products like caps, beanies, jackets, which is something you guys have been asking for. You'll find the link in the video description. But for now, let's get back to the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. So Frontier has posted this question and answers post, and they've answered a lot of questions, I think 28 in total. I'm not going to go into every one of them, I'm just going to deep dive into some of the more interesting ones. Now the first question is, can the new terrain system generate overhangs? To which Frontier has answered, unfortunately not. However, we think you will enjoy the vistas of our planet tech will provide. Now the reason why overhangs are interesting is because obviously they allow you to do stuff like arches, but also cave systems. While to say that it doesn't support overhangs, it doesn't mean there's not going to be any cave systems. The current planet tech today doesn't support overhangs, yet we have the Thargoid bases where we can drive into them. That clearly has a roof above it. So that means while the planet generation will not naturally generate overhangs, what they can still do is to do either a special site-like thing that generates a cave, or have handcrafted caves they can put in certain locations. So just because it doesn't support overhangs doesn't mean that cave systems is not necessarily going to be a thing. However, it's not been confirmed. I've not seen any talks of cave systems at all, but at least all they've said is that it cannot generate overhangs by its own, so there will have to be handcrafted assets if those are to be put in the game. The next question is regarding networking, where people have asked, what are the plans for networking in Odyssey? Will it be P2P or will it be server-based for the FPS gameplay? To which Frontier has replied, the underlying network structure is the same as the rest of Elite Dangerous, AI, P2P, so that the experience is seamless for players. Now, to me, that is a little worrying. I mean, I've seen how the current networking code handles more than 4 people. That's when you begin to get issues and instancing problems. And it seems those are going to carry over to Odyssey. It probably also means you're not going to be filling up a ship with 20 of your friends and then flying out and do like a mass brawl out somewhere. Or just like have everybody like go into a base at once. I don't know, but it seems that we are not going to be expecting more people in the same instance at the same time than we already have now. And if you are trying to push the instance size up, you should probably expect to see the same networking issues as we see with Horizons today. Then we have a question regarding gravity, where Frontier has been asked, could you elaborate on how high, low, or lack of gravity will be handled by space legs on the ground or in stations? To which Frontier has replied, we have an upper cap on high gravity worlds where it would be safe for commanders to deploy. For outposts, whilst you're in 0G, we use magnetic boots to keep the players on the floor. On planets, gravity affects how high you can jump, and particularly how effective your jump pack is. Low G planets can get quite a lot of distance. Grenades also follow trajectories based on gravity, which creates some interesting gameplay. Now there are 2 things in this. First of all, the magnetic boot solution is, it's a little hand-wavy, to be honest. Everyone just always go like, oh, you can just use magnetic boots and you have like solved gravity. But that means you're not going to be able to jump. If you're in 0G and you're being held down by having magnets either in the floor or in your boots, well, if you jump and you completely lose contact with the floor, you're free floating. So having people run around as normal, not having, the only way that could work, because you need to have a constant field happening everywhere. How is the, like, will people's hair, for instance? We're gonna see 0G planets where people walk around. I mean, obviously the inside of these stations, they're gonna be pressurized, so I would assume there would be people walking around without their helmets on. Are we gonna have people's hair floating out, or do everybody just have like knots tied to the end of their hair to pull it down? I don't know. So there's a lot of problems with that, and I feel like it's just a hand-wavy solution to why there happen to be gravity in these like small like shoebox outposts where there's no rotation, just these like with only medium pad landing thing. So that's probably going to be one of those things where you would have to like turn a blind eye and not worry about it, because I have a hard time seeing them getting that realistic. But what I think is great is that they have taken gravity on planets into consideration, so that it both handles the way your character moves on the planet in terms of how high you can jump and how your jetpack affects, much like we see with the SRV today, and especially the idea with having grenades that you can throw around, and they are also affected by gravity. I think that could be quite fun. It can give some interesting gameplay, and it also means that people need to learn these mechanics regarding if you want to throw grenades, you have to compensate for gravity, how much like altitude do you give it, and yeah. So there's some interesting gameplay there for sure. And then we have a question about lighting, where Frontier is asked quick questions about the lighting changes in the Odyssey update. Is it going to be a sweeping change to all or most lighting sources, including ship interiors / exteriors and system stars? Or will it be limited to stations and the atmospheric planets? To which Frontier very shortly replies, we are revamping the lighting for the entire game. That is awesome. That means this new like amazing videos we have seen where like it looks stunning, that is going to affect everything in Elite. It's going to affect station interiors as we see it today. It's going to affect the way lights are reflected from the stars, and your cockpit may look better than ever as well. So it's not just going to be pretty looking outside. Hopefully your cockpit's also going to be looking prettier on the inside. I really like that, and that's nice to see that they haven't just gone and said we're just going to do it for these areas, but they've gone and do a sweeping change across the board to make it feel more seamless, I think is the best word. Next one, we have one, and this one makes me really, really sad. Will there be a possibility of mining on the surface of planets in Odyssey? To which Frontier replies, whilst we're not looking into mining on foot at this time, you will be able to visit small mining settlements. Sad face. I was really looking forward to running around on the surface with a small hand laser and shooting up rocks and collecting like valuable material and like certainly looking for like veins of ore underground or something like that. But it seems it's not going to be the case. I feel like it's a really missed opportunity for Frontier not to include hand mining. It seems like it would be a place that it would be relatively easy to do. I mean, they have the formula. We saw that they have the formula with the mining update they did some time ago now, where they introduced these like small mini games. They could do something similar with hand mining, find a small mini game, and then add a little bit of skill based in how well or how good you are to actually locating the rocks or something like that, or how quickly you can solve these mini games, and you have yourself a fun, interesting mechanic. I think most people will agree that the new like subsurface mining or core mining is much more interesting than standard laser mining. Take the same principles and apply them to something on the surface, and you have yourself some really interesting gameplay. It seems that's not going to be the case. I really hope this is something Frontier will look into in the future, but for launch at the very least, nah. Next up, we have a question that I think a lot of you who are playing Elite on a lower spec PC will be really, really happy and really, really interesting to see the answer to. Will Odyssey have the same graphic impacts as the current engine in terms of performance, or will you need to upgrade your video card? To which Frontiers replied, Odyssey will be optimized to run on your current settings for Elite Dangerous. This is nice to see. I really like that they have taken the crowd in who may not have like top of the line, the latest graphics card, but also the people who are just playing it on a laptop. Taking those guys into consideration as well, because it would be really a shame to basically alienate that whole side of the audience. And I guess, especially if you have people playing on console who may not have, I mean, unless you want to upgrade the full console, you don't have the option to just go out and upgrade a single component like a graphics card. So therefore, I think it's really nice that they have optimized Odyssey so that it should be running with similar performance as you see today, even in the new, better looking graphic engine. Now, the final one here really puzzles me. Will a Horizon user in an SRV be able to meet an Odyssey user on foot on a planet with no atmosphere? And the answer to this is, we're looking into this at the moment, more to follow soon. Okay. First of all, of course, what they're asking here is you have a guy in an SRV who doesn't have Odyssey, who plays in Horizon, and he goes down to a planet where you can land already. And there's another player who has Odyssey, who's running around on foot. Are they going to be able to meet each other? Is the Horizon player going to be able to run over the guy who plays on Odyssey on foot? And they say they can't answer this right now. They say there's more on this to follow. This one really puzzles me, because As I can see it, there's two answers to why we're not getting a straight answer to this. One is they don't know yet, which worries me, because why haven't Frontier made a decision or made a solution to this in this point in development? The game is supposed to be about 3 months away from now. Or the other option is that they are planning an announcement on this at some point in the future, and they just don't want to come out with that information now. Oh, that wouldn't surprise me if that is the case. In case it is the fact that they don't know yet, I'm really worried about that, because that's going to mean that you're going to segregate the already split up community into even further smaller groups. And what I mean with that is we already have the elite players split up to 3 distinct groups. We have Xbox, PC, and PlayStation commanders. 3 distinct groups that are never going to see each other in space. They're never going to be playing together. And if you split up Horizon and Odyssey, then all of a sudden you take those 3 groups and they're now split into 6 groups. So we have 2 groups on each platform, Horizon and Odyssey. And that means the chances is if you meet another Horizon or another Elite player, what are the chances that you happen to fall into the same bucket, that you're both playing on the same platform and you both have the update or both do not have the update? It's just gonna completely segregate everything out, and it's just gonna, I think even more than it already does, make Elite feel like a single player game. It's gonna make the galaxy feel even more empty than it already is. Unless they have something with that people can still, on PC, meet each other in space, but if an Odyssey player goes on a planet that a Horizon player also has, then they split instances and split apart, and I don't know. I was a little worried about that one. I really hope we're gonna get a answer to this one soon, because I had an assumption that, of course, if you had Horizon and Odyssey, they're going to a planet without an atmosphere that both can land on, of course they're going to be able to see each other. It will still mean a massive update for Horizon players, because now Horizon needs to include all the assets for Odyssey, all the suits, all the whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I hope we're going to see something about this soon. But anyway, those were the questions I've decided to take a deep dive into. I'll post the forum thread in the description if you want to go and read up on some of the other ones. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in space.